Hello dear students, I am Dr. Garima Srivastava from Lal Bahadur Shastri College, Lucknow. Now today we are going to start up with the unit number 2, the staffing practices in international human resource management. Now, when talking about international human resource management, we have already talked about what is international human resource and how does different processes or functions of human resource management work when the company wants to expand in the overseas operations. So, now starting off with the second unit, we are on the topic that is international staffing. Now, this is a very important aspect as to when the company wants to expand its operations in overseas market. So, when it wants to expand in overseas market, of course, staffing is an important aspect. Why? Because staffing means hiring of right people for the right place who will go to the overseas market and who will pursue the project in the overseas market. So, for that purpose it is important that they remain motivated, they are more experienced and skilled in that particular area. So, coming down to international staffing, it is a necessary piece of global expansion puzzle. Why? Because whenever the organization wants to expand, its operations anywhere in the market, whether it is a domestic market or it is an overseas market, we require more and more people. And now of course, when we require more people, they should be of different skills, they should be from different departments who will be able to help through their skills to the organization. So, when moving down to the new markets requires hiring of local employees as well as the employees from the host country market. So, of course, when going on to the international staffing, it is important to understand from where to hire these people. Now, if we talk about hiring of people, we have already studied that there are three kinds of employees when we talk about international human resource management, that is parent country nationals, host country nationals and the third country nationals. That means a company has three options, three opportunities to find out skilled employees from three various places. That is the parent country where the you can say headquarters of the organizations are located. Then we have we can hire people from the host country where we have the subsidiary located, and we can have the people from the third country nationals also from where neither the headquarters neither the subsidiaries are located. So, when talking about different people, hiring of different people, different skill sets for the organization, we will definitely look into the various aspects of staffing and from where these people can be gathered. So, staffing is a process of hiring eligible candidates in the organization, and they are hired for specific positions. In management, the meaning of staffing is an operation of recruitment of employees by evaluating their skills, knowledge and then offering specific job roles accordingly. Now, of course, when we hire people, staffing starts with the requirement of the job. We of course analyze what kind of job profiles are open, and for these job profiles what are the specific eligibility criteria for the candidates to have. So, now we will be finding the people with the same kind of skill set, same kind of eligibility criteria, and then hiring of these people is done. Now, this hiring can be done from the internal sources as well as the external sources. Now, when talking about internal sources, it means hiring of people or recruitment of people for overseas operations from within the organization. Now, from within the organization, it means finding those people who are already skilled or who have been skilled through their experiences, through their knowledge, and they are ready to move outside the country. Then, if we find out the people from the external sources, they can be hired from the host country nationals or from the companies which are already located in the host country, or the people who are already working in the same kind of profile in other companies. So, these are the external people. First of all, of course, the organization goes for expatriates, that means the hiring of people from the internal sources, and company always relies on these internal sources for hiring for overseas operations. Now, when talking about staffing, it is always including recruitment and selection. Now, recruitment refers to searching for and obtaining potential job candidates. Now, when talking about recruitment and selection, there is a slight difference between recruitment and selection process in any organization. Now, when we talk it in terms of international human resource management, it means recruitment directly refers to a finding of potential job candidates just on certain criteria and shortlisting them on the basis of these criteria. Now, selection is somewhat a large process, it can be called as a somewhat bigger process than recruitment, where we evaluate the people on the basis of certain criteria, and here we get people who are skilled in almost all the areas and who are set in almost all the specific standards that we have set. So, first decision of IHRM is where employees for the various position from the organization. Now, coming down to the basic staffing approaches. Now, when we talk about staffing approaches, whether we take up recruitment as the basis or we take up selection for the basis for hiring of the people for overseas assignment, we have certain approaches of staffing. That means a company can take up any of these approaches to find out the people, find out that right set of people with right set of skills who can be sent for overseas operations of that particular expansion. Now, depending on the recruitment of key managerial position for multinational companies, different approaches can be explained. Now, we have three kinds of approaches. Now, of course, here we need to understand a multinational companies or multinational enterprises, how they work, MNCs or MNEs. Now, when we talk about multinational corporations, multinational companies or multinational enterprises, all of these are categorized into companies which expand their operations in the overseas market. So, of course, when they go in for expansion with the same kind of product as they are selling in the domestic market, so or with a varied kind of product as they are selling in the domestic market, they need to acquire more people, they need to send more people to the host country, so that their expansion process can be done in a successful manner. So, the first step, or so the first approach you can say is ethnocentric approach. Now, when we talk about ethnocentric approach, it means that the organization here believes that the internal people or the people who are from the host or from the home country are much better, and they can fulfill the requirement of organization's mission vision in the host country itself. So, they more and more focus on ethnocentric approach, where they hire people from the home country or the parent country where the headquarters are located. Now, why do they do so? There are certain advantages of ethnocentric approach. So, what are the advantages of ethnocentric approach? Organizations' cultures can be easily adapted to all subsidiaries with the help of key managerial decisions such as vision, mission and objectives. Now, when we take up ethnocentric approach as an approach for staffing of people in the overseas market, over here it is important to understand that the organization wants to extend its very culture, its very base culture which it practices in the home country into the host country also. So, over here it goes in for ethnocentric approach, because the people from the parent country are well aware of organization's culture, are well aware of the various practices that the organization has, and therefore, it tries to these people try to function the same kind of culture, they try to establish the same kind of culture in the host country also. So, there is a somewhat similarity of culture, organization culture as in the parent country, same will be in the host country. Then secondly, possibility of to eliminate communication barriers. When we take up the ethnocentric approach, there is a certain possibility that the communication barriers between the host country and the parent country can be reduced. Why? Because the people who have been sent from the home country or the parent country, they will be able to communicate in a better way, they will be able to communicate in the same standardized way as the company expects. Because when we take up the people from the host country, country, they may or may not be aware of the communication processes or communication network the company follows. So, over here the same people who are from the home country, they will be able to communicate with the organization in a very proper manner. Thirdly, the parent company can monitor the operations of subsidiary effectively. Now, here if the same people from the parent company go in the overseas market, then of course the parent company is able to monitor the other subsidiaries very well, because the communication barrier is almost removed, and of course the same kind of culture is also followed in the host country. Now, better coordination between activities of the parent company as well as the subsidiary company. Now, of course, if the same people are there at the top management or at the middle level management, of course ethnocentric approach will give a benefit. Why? Because our communication gap between the home country and the parent country, home country and the host country will be reduced a lot. But certainly there are certain disadvantages of ethnocentric approach. Now, if we talk about ethnocentric approach, we need to pay more and more attention on expatriates from the home country. Why? Because sometimes we have many kind of you can say many kind of barriers which the employees from the home country face in the host country. So, there can be cross cultural variations. Now, of course, when we talk about people who are moving from home country to the host country, who are called as expatriates, they may experience a lot of cross culture variation. Why? Because they are moving to another new kind of country with new culture. So, they may face cultural shock also. So, it is necessary that the people who are well adaptive to the nature, well adaptive to the culture of the host country, they should only be sent for the overseas operations. So, this is a drawback of ethnocentric approach. Now, of course, thirdly, host country national employees may get disappointed by losing the key managerial roles. Now, whatever key managerial roles the home country employees were enjoying in the home country, in the parent country, they may lose their managerial roles when they move outside in the overseas market, because of course, when they are moved, when they are allocated different roles in the overseas market, it is not necessary that they are placed at the same organizational level in the home country, host country also. So, there are chances that they lose this key managerial position. Now, of course, over here it is an important responsibility of human resource management that they maintain the satisfaction level of these people who are placed at a very high managerial post in the home country. The same kind of post or almost same kind of designations are given to them in the host country also. Fourthly, subsidiary may lose skilled or experienced employees due to ethnocentric approach. Now, when we talk about ethnocentric approach, we concentrate on the home country only. So, here we can have a loss on skilled and experienced employees who can be hired from the host country or any kind of third country nationals. Then expatriates from home country may not be aware of the local values or beliefs. So, cultural clashes may arise and may show an effect on the business. So, of course, if the expatriates are not able to understand the various values and beliefs of the culture of that particular host country, and they are not able to adjust the culture of the organization according to the culture of that particular host country, then there may be clashes, and it may have that the business may suffer in the host country. Coming down to the second kind of approach that the staffing has is polycentric approach. Now, when we talk about polycentric approach, it means here all the key managerial positions are filled with employees of the host country nationals. That means purely all the kind of key managerial positions. Now, of course, I here want to tell you that key managerial positions mean all the key positions which cannot be kept vacant in the organization. Now, they may be top level management, or they may be middle level management positions in the organization structure. So, over here if we talk about polycentric approach, these key managerial positions are filled up by the people from the host country itself. Now, when we take up the polycentric approach, of course, we have certain advantages. Now, first of all, host country managers can analyze and understand the local markets and the local people. Now, of course, when we take up the people from the host country itself, they are able to better understand the values, the beliefs beliefs, the culture, the local market, the demands of the people, needs of the people of the local market or the host country. So, that is why polycentric approach will be very good if we take up this kind of approach in the host country market. Now, they can better coordinate with business environment, but both internal and external. Now, of course, because due to polycentric approach, we have people from the local market, we have people from the host country itself. So, they will be able to analyze the environment, both internal and external, and then they will be able to manage the different factors which are related to business environment and which may affect your business in any way. No difficulty arises due to cultural issues. Now, of course, here there is no difficulty because of the cultural issues, because host country nationals are already aware of the local market, the culture of the local market, the culture of that particular country. So, they are better able to handle all the operations of the organization. It creates a job satisfaction and job enrichment to the host country nationals. Now, if we take up the host country nationals, they may be promoted in the same country itself in their in this particular organization, and this may result into more and more job satisfaction, more and more job enrichment of the people. Now, if we talk about the fifth point, hiring host country nationals is less expensive than hiring expatriates. Why? Because when we talk about hiring of expatriates for the overseas market, of course, somewhat more compensation package will be given to the people as compared to the domestic market. So, the company may have more budget if it follows, if it sends its expatriates for the host country operations. Now, local market knowledge of the host country nationals enables them to take strategic decision. Now, if the people are already aware of the local market, the needs and demands of the local market, then strategic decisions related to various products, operations, production of the product, all these will be becoming, become much more easier. Then coming down, of course, polycentric approach also has certain disadvantages. It may not always create a scope of better coordination between headquarters and subsidiaries. Now, of course, there is always a problem of coordination between the host country and home country. Why? Because the people have somewhat different mindset if they are taken up from the host countries. Now, because they understand the values, cultures of that particular local host country, there may be chances that better coordination is not set up between the headquarters and the subsidiaries. And of course, different kind of culture may also prevail in the subsidiaries. So, headquarters may not be able to control all kinds of functions of the subsidiaries. Quick control of operation is not possible because key managerial positions are occupied by host country nationals. Though the host country managers follow the vision and mission of the organization, then also errors occur in fulfillment of standards of culture. Why? Because there is always a kind of adjustment when talking about host country people and their operations and their way of leading the people or leading the organization in the subsidiaries. So, there may always be errors, there may always be some kind of communication gap between the home country and the host country. Now, we have another kind of third approach, that is geocentric. Now, when we talk about geocentric, it is a kind of mixed approach, it is a kind of approach which says neither you can neither concentrate on ethnocentric, you can neither concentrate on polycentric. It specifically bases on the concept that the right person should be placed on the right job. Now, that means it is irrespective of from where the person belongs, it is irrespective from what are the skill sets of that particular person. The person should be right for that particular right kind of job, and that is it. That is the proper approach, that is geocentric approach. Now, when we talk about the advantages of geocentric approach, it means it has certain advantages. The very first one is geocentric approach creates a scope to hire world's best talented and skilled people. Now, of course, when we talk about geocentric approach, we take up people from who are neither from the host country, who are neither from the home country. They can be the people from anywhere, from from the world, and they are best suited for this particular kind of job. So, we have world's best talented and skilled employees for our organization. Secondly, it facilitates competitive advantage and helps in reaching the market empire position. Now, of course, when we talk about different products in the market, in the local market, when we are hiring best people, when we are hiring best talent from all over the world, we have certainly have a competitive advantage when we talk about this particular market in the host country. Thirdly, hiring most talented and eligible people can fulfill the objectives of the organization. Now, when we talk about these people who can be hired from anywhere from the world, now they are a competitive advantage for the organization also, because they will work for more and more productivity, more and more efficiency of the organization. Now, this process, this approach helps in reduction of unfair treatments and clashes in the organization, and which are arising due to favoritism towards nationality. Now, of course, when we talk about this approach, it neither favorites the home country nationals, it neither favorites the host country nationals. That means, the problem of favoritism, the problem of people taking up people from same nationality is almost over here, diminished when we talk about geocentric approach. Now, certainly geocentric approach also has certain disadvantages. The very first one is, hiring according to the geocentric approach is expensive. Now, as we were talking about ethnocentric approach, when we were sending expats to the host country, it was an expensive process. Similarly, if we take up people from all over the world and we call them and we send them to the host country, this will be also an expensive process, because location of people, allocation of people from somewhere else, some other parts of the world to that particular host country is almost expensive. When we talk about compensation package, salary package, shifting of an employee from one country to the another, then chances of cross culture clashes may become high. Now, when we were talking about only two countries, that were parent country and the host country, cross culture clashes were there, but when we are talking about people from many other countries, so of course, cross culture clashes will be more and more over there in the organization. It may not always facilitate better coordination and control the operations of the organization. Why? Because all the people from the different countries may better handle the processes, but somewhere coordination and control of operations are not there. So, of course, hiring of people from many other countries will also be disadvantageous for the organization. Now, it will be difficult to monitor and control the operations. Of course, it will be difficult. Why? Because headquarters will follow certain other rules and functions. Similarly, subsidiaries will follow certain other rules and functions, and the people working over there, if they are from many different countries, they will be working according to their own skill sets, they will be working according to their own experience sets. So, that is why the monitoring and the control of various operations in the host country will be difficult. Now, organizations will be need to spend more on expatriate relocation allowance. Now, of course, if we will be talking about allowances, we will be talking about compensation packages. If we will be moving people from other parts of the world to that particular host country, a compensation package will be more. A high cross culture variation arises. Why? Because lot number of cultures come into play. Whatever the people were working in their own culture, they will try to follow the same culture in the this particular host country also. Then one more aspect comes into play when we talk about staffing of people in the overseas assignment: expatriate training and development. More and more organizations focus on sending of expatriates, sending of people from the home country itself for overseas assignment. Why? Because they trust these home country nationals more as compared to the host country nationals or third country nationals. These home country nationals are more and more aware about the culture, aware about the practices that are being followed by the organization in the home country, and they are expected to follow same kind of culture in the host country also. So, while hiring the employees for international assignments, organization needs to provide better training to the employees. So, if we are concentrating our hiring on the expatriates for sending to the overseas assignment for the higher level jobs, or we can say key positions, we need to provide better training to the people whom we are sending to the host country. Now, why do we require this training? Now, this training will help them face certain problems that will arise in the host country. Now, these problems may be related to local language, culture and beliefs of the local people, managing personal and family life in the completely new environments. Now, of course, training about all these aspects will help the person to gather more and more information about that particular host country, and they will accordingly try to adjust themselves in the changed culture, so that they are not facing the cultural shock. So, proper training and development motivate the employees to perform better in achieving organizations objectives effectively. Now, coming down to the process of recruitment and selection when talking about international terms. Now, staffing means recruitment, staffing means hiring of the right person at the right place at the very right time, and this can be done through two processes, that is recruitment or selection. Now, whenever a position opens, hiring team should follow this process. Now, if we see overseas market, if we see overseas operation, we already have certain kind of openings that come up in the organization structure when that organization tries to expand in the overseas market. Now, we need to check out what are these particular openings, and who will be the people from where we will be hiring these people for overseas assignment. Now, very first point, decide which staff approach is most suitable for this particular case. Now, of course, when analyzing these positions, these key managerial positions that are open in the overseas market, we need to understand which kind of approach we will be taking up for this particular key managerial position. Now, when talking about key staffing positions, now we can have ethnocentric approach, we can have polycentric approach, and we can have the third one, that is geocentric approach. Now, we need to understand that which kind of approach will be taken up for that particular key managerial position. Now, of course, secondly, determine the recruitment methods that work for this approach. Now, for of course, all the three kinds of approach, we need to understand what kind of recruitment methods we will be taking. Now, recruitment methods means internal recruitment, or you need people from outside, or external recruitment. Now, of course, this will be aligned with allocation of budget. Now, whatever budget allows you, you will always recruit from that particular source. So, if there is more budget, you can give more kind of compensation to the people, you can hire, you can take up ethnocentric approach, otherwise you can go in for polycentric approach. Always evaluate the candidates. So, first of all, when the organization goes in for ethnocentric approach, it has to evaluate the candidates on a continuous basis. So, that means the people working on key managerial positions in the home country itself have to be evaluated from time to time, and this database, this list of people should be kept with human resource management who can be sent in the overseas market, and this can be done through mobility pyramid as well. Through this pyramid, we will be able to understand get the list of those people who are best suited, who will be able to move to the overseas assignment easily. They are called as GLOPATs. Now, coming down to the last point, that is close the hire and discuss the paperwork. Now, when you have already shortlisted the people, when you have already identified those candidates from within the organization, you need to communicate with them that they can be hired at this particular position in the overseas market, and discuss their compensation package. Complete your paperwork. Paperwork will include their immigration, their work permit in that particular host country, and other terms and conditions that are required. You need to complete this. So, taking up any of these two approaches, recruitment or selection, international staffing can be done very effectively for overseas assignment. Thank you.